Welcome to the Coaching Edge podcast with your co-hosts, Dr. Steve Jeffs and Erwin de Grave. Each episode, we bring you expert guests and transformative coaching insights. Let's dive in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of the Coaching Edge podcast with your co-host, Dr. Steve Jeffs, and myself, Erwin de Grave. I'm sorry, I'm still running over my own name. And today we have the pleasure to talk to Karen Strauss. Hello, Karen. How are you doing?
Hello, Erwin. I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. And welcome, Steve, as well. So we got something really special today because Karen is a publisher. And we know that coaches love to write books, love to read books. So we decided it would be really interesting to have a chat with really an expert in publishing. So Karen, who is Karen Strauss? How she became publisher? What she does nowadays in publishing?
That's a big question. How much time do you have? So
Enough.
I have been in publishing for about 40 years now, or as I like to say, I've been in publishing since the Gutenberg Bible was invented. So I've been around a long time. Worked in traditional publishing, Random House, Macmillan, Crown, sales, marketing, publicity. So I've kind of done it all. And then left to start my own company to actually work for medium and small size publishing houses. And I went on the road to represent them to Barnes & Noble, to the big guys at that time, Borders and Walden, the airport stores, Books A Million, so on and so forth. And I worked on commission. So, so I did that for quite a while. And then in 2008, 2009, Borders goes out of business. And so I lost 40% of my income. Yes, that hurt. And then I get diagnosed with breast cancer. So that was a pretty rough year for me, where I really had to dig deep and figure out how I was going to move forward, and what was really important to me. Why was I put on this earth? What impact did I want to make? And so that's how I started Hybrid Global Publishing in 2011, because I really wanted to help people amplify their voices and get out there and really, really speak their message, particularly for people who have been muted, whether that's in business, whether that's in life, as a child, in a relationship, whatever that is. And so for me, it's coming from a theater background. When I put out a book, it's like a standing ovation to me. So, and I just love it. And that's my purpose.
Do you see the writing of books as to amplify people's voices? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So writing a book really can change your entire life. I've seen it happen. So what happens is you write a book, maybe you go talk about it on a radio show and podcast like yours. Maybe you go on at a conference and you speak. Do videos, whatever it is. People who are radio show and podcast hosts, people who are looking for speakers, one of the first things they ask is, have you written a book? And so, because it's the one concrete thing you send in the book, it's the concrete thing that they can actually see, yeah, you're legit. Yes, this is your philosophy. This is your program. This is your life, whatever it is. And they can really see it if you're on social media, if you're on, video, those things can be, let's say, altered, to look a certain way. But a book gives you that gravitas. And so you definitely have a leg up to get visibility. And so amplify your voice means that if you're in business, you don't want to be the best kept secret in your niche, right? In your industry. That's not what we want. And having a book can absolutely help you generate more income, get more clients, and get more visibility. So that's what I mean by amplifying your voice.
What is important when you write a book and want to write a book? What is the importance for all the people listening? What are maybe the top 3 things that you would recommend them to write a book that is going to have a resonance, that their voice are going to get out and people are willing to read it and publisher willing to publish it?
Yeah. Well, for one thing, I always think you have to start with the purpose. What is your purpose for writing a book?
Hmm.
And dig deeper than that, right? Like purpose for writing a book can be, I want to be I want to be a New York Times bestseller. Purpose for a book can be, I want to get on more speaking stages. I want to get on radio shows. I want to be visible. I want to get, I want to gain 10 new clients and $100,000 in revenue. Whatever that might be for you, what is the reason you are writing and promoting, publishing this book? Beyond that, what is your purpose in life? Why are you even doing this? It's not even about the book. For me, my bigger purpose is with my family to, to take care of them, to have money to, retire. But if I ever retire, which I doubt, I'll probably die in the mines doing this. But my dream really is I love animals. And so my husband and I would like to have enough money to buy acres of farmland and create a rescue farm for animals, whether for adoption, whether for if they're hurt or abused, whatever it is. And I keep that in mind always in the back of my mind. This is what I want. And so I teach people actually what is the real purpose? Just dig deep, because a lot of people will say, I'm writing a book because people have asked me to, right? They'll say, oh, your story is great. You should write a book about that. But that's not going to keep you motivated to actually write the book. So when you dig deep for a purpose, I tell them to put it on a Post-it note and stick it on your computer and look at that every single day. Because the statistic is, the grim statistic is that when asked, 80% of the public, when asked, say yes, they want to write a book. And only 2% actually wind up publishing a book. And the reason is because they don't have that grit and that commitment to really finish it. I have seen authors writing a book, right? They're going along, and this is even a business book, and suddenly they stop because trauma hits. Because when you're writing a book, you have to expect things are going to crop up in your life. And if you haven't dealt with them, something's going to stop you, right? So you always have to keep that purpose, in mind to kind of keep going. So I may have been on a distraction, so Erwin, so if I haven't answered your question, let me know.
No, that's really good. So I think, Steve, you've written a book, at least 2. You're writing a book actually right now as well.
There's a couple. There's a few that have been put on the shelf where life got in the way. I've co-authored a couple. We've got one that's hopefully coming out early next year, and definitely more in the wings. But what happens after the book is written? Because I know a lot of people are focused on, oh, I'll write a book and I've got to put words and I got to like press the keys and do the typey thing. But like, it feels like that's the goal, but that's not the goal. Like, what happens after there's something that we could call like at least a manuscript?
That's a great question, because it's true. A lot of authors will think, okay, if I can just get that manuscript done, I can relax. Now I'm done. I hand it to the publisher, and now they do everything. I put it on Amazon, and they will come. So not true. This is where the hard work begins. So once you get the manuscript done, first of all, even before that, as you're writing, you really should decide how you want to publish the book. So, do you want to go to a traditional publisher? That means you have to get an agent, you have to write a book proposal, you have to be prepared for a lot of rejection, and maybe 6 months later, maybe even if you get offered a contract, your book won't be published for 18 months, and then they buy the rights to your book. So you have to decide if this is worth it to you. Then there's self-publishing, which is, do it yourself. For me, if I don't know anything about publishing or what kind of editor I want or what kind of, formatting, cover design, you have to hire all of these people. If I don't know what I'm doing, it's kind of like I would never do my own taxes because you would wind up visiting me in jail because I don't know what I don't know. So I hire an expert to help me. I hire an accountant to do the taxes because they do that all day long. So I would recommend, if you want to self-publish, at least hire someone who could shepherd you through the whole process. And then there's hybrid publishing, which is what we are, which is a fairly new way of doing things. And that's a cross between traditional publishing and self-publishing. And that's where you own your own rights, but you have a team of people who are actually working on your book and giving you that traditional book experience and hopefully help with the marketing. And so that's the real key. So that's first decide how you want to publish, interview some publishers, kind of talk to some other authors to see how they have done it, what their experience has been. And that's one thing I'd recommend. And then once you decide, then you have to create, we talk about launch teams. So what is a launch team? And that's building a list of maybe say 20 people or so that you can count on. That could be friends, that could be family, that could be people that you have worked with for 20 years who you can count on so that when the book comes out, they're going to instantly buy the ebook and review the book. And so that's something that's very critical to a book launch. But you need to plan that out 6 months in advance, right? And so then you kind of have to plan this out in months and in tiers. What are you going to do 3 months before the book is out? What are you going to do on launch day? Are you running an Amazon bestseller campaign, a review campaign? Within the launch, the publication date should be within those 2 weeks, you should be everywhere. People should not be able to avoid you. That's the key to a really great publication launch, so that you're going to be on radio shows and podcasts. Maybe you'll be in ads. Maybe you'll be speaking everywhere. Maybe you'll hold master classes, promote it to your list. Whatever it is, you might want to hire a marketing director, a marketing manager to walk you through this. But I think that most people need help. But you have to be committed to this, to the marketing process if you want to sell books. We have a little bit of a different ROI, if you will. So return on investment doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell 30,000 copies of your book. The ROI means how many new clients, if you're in business, how many new clients can you gain from all the money that you have spent doing this book, writing this book, marketing this book. And so for the most part, let's say you're spending $15,000 on everything. How many new clients do you need to make up that 15,000? Usually it's 2 or 3. If you can't get 2 or 3 new clients, maybe you shouldn't be writing a book. So the ROI is really the visibility that you're going to gain, the revenue that you're going to gain, how you're going to be invited to speak on other people's stages and get more eyes on you, right? So, that's a really key thing. So marketing is the key to it all. And most people don't really know the steps involved and what you have to do in advance on the day, and then what you need to do afterwards to keep the momentum going.
Is there a difference between fiction and nonfiction?
Well, yes, one's fiction, one's nonfiction, but oh, what can you be more specific?
But I mean about publishing, because of course, with fiction, you're not going to, the objective is not to get paying clients. It is something else. And most people like fiction suddenly want to go for awards. I've seen that it's more interesting, more prestige. I don't know.
Gotcha. So yes, so marketing fiction, yes, is definitely different. And the marketing in fiction, in my experience, should be centered around reviews. Because you do want sales. You want to keep building as you write and publish more and more books. You want to get more raving fans, and the way you do that is to get a lot of reviews, people saying really great things. So some reviews you can buy. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a good review, but you can buy the reviews to make sure that you're guaranteed a review. The other thing is there are campaigns that we run, that other people run, Amazon review campaigns, where you can get 15 to 30 reviews on Amazon. Again, not guaranteeing it's going to be a good review, but at least you'll get, a lot. You can put it on Kindle, particularly if you're a first-time author. You might consider Kindle Unlimited, because you do get a lot of visibility with that, and then you do have to offer them an exclusive for 90 days, but they're going to promote you. And 80% of sales, particularly for new authors, are going to come from Amazon. So you may as well play the game, in my opinion. And so Kindle Unlimited, I think, is really good. I know that my husband reads a lot of science fiction. And so we have a subscription to Kindle Unlimited, and he's discovered a lot of new authors because, he reads them free, besides the subscription that we pay. But it's a no-brainer and no risk for him. And so I think it's one of the great strategies that you can do if you're a new author. But reviews are everything, really, what people say about you. And getting out there. Sure, radio shows, podcasts are all really helpful. I think that ads, maybe if you've got the money and you have the if you've got the right expert to help you with it. I would never do Facebook ads myself or LinkedIn ads myself. You have to have somebody who knows what they're doing. So, yeah.
I got a future question. Any other questions for you, Erwin, at the moment?
No, I'm just looking at, I'm just putting myself with people listening in and say, okay, I'm thinking about writing a book. What do I need to keep in mind, and what is important, and what should I be focusing on? And basically what I'm just summarizing, it's really to know what is your purpose that is going to motivate you to continue and finish the manuscript. And then secondly, even if you want to do self-publishing, you need to have a team around you that are expert in the specific fields to promote your book, to put you where it is, who can put you in as speakers on television shows, because they know how to do it. And there's also work to do afterwards. That's really important. So I think that's the main summary I got. So I think for people that is really important to know.
That was definitely my experience. I was definitely focused on writing a book. It took us 2 or 3 years, and we got there and we were excited, and then we're like, now what? And the writing of the book and the publishing of the book, different step. The marketing of the book, as you said, different from publishing in many cases. And then of course there's, well, what do we do with it? How do we integrate that into the business if that's part of the strategy? The question that was coming to me is, what's next? because I'm hearing talk of banning of books, like paper books by 2030. You mentioned Kindle Unlimited and the digital books. I'm still old school. I still print out PDF articles to kind of hold them and read them. And I definitely have a kinesthetic attachment to books. Just look in my garage at the moment; it's filled with them. But to hold a book, I remember it differently than when I swipe across the screen.
Okay.
What are you seeing is emerging in physical print, digital, interactive digital, and all of these other potential things that may be emerging?
Well, what's interesting is that the younger generation are actually reading more print books um, than they are. Yeah, it's startling to learn that. But I've been in the business a long time, and what is that Mark Twain quote? The about the reports of my death have been greatly exaggerated. Is that the quote? So yeah, that's what I think about banning books by 2030. I may be wrong. I hope I'm right in this, but I really don't think print books are going to go away. Now, we are with the addition of AI, there's, that opens up a whole new thing. We can get into that, but I have uh, someone that I'm working with and who is also a friend, building a whole AI platform for making print books more interactive and
Mm.
adding AI into um, your print reading experience, so things can jump off the page and that kind of thing. So he's going to demo it for me, and I'll have more to share with you. But it's really going to be extraordinary, and so I see that happening. Right now we put QR codes into print books, so somebody can scan a QR code and go up on a web page or go to a video or something like that, where more information can be learned about the author. So there's that. Um, what I recommend is that deliver content the way people want to hear it, see it, enjoy it. So whether that's an ebook, whether that's an audio book, which is enjoying tremendous growth these days. So audiobooks, people want to listen to. For me, listening, this listening is not my greatest asset, but that's not exactly true. But my mother used to say that. So so but what that means is I don't retain as much. I don't retain the memory if just by listening. I'm like you, Steve. I'm like you, Steve, where I need to see the words in print. But I know many people who retain information better by listening to the book. And of course, people listen to it in cars. So you need to do an audio, an ebook, a print book, um, and a lot of good ways to promote your book is maybe you do snippets of the book. If you're doing a nonfiction book, a 2-minute tip, every few days, have it on a YouTube channel, right? Hold a master class, about each chapter, of your book. Um, and or turn it into a course. I mean, there's a lot of ways to monetize your book. So again, delivering content the way people are going to really absorb it.
We built discussion guides to help people talk about the content, as well as a self-paced course. One thing I do want to share with is I really appreciate the opportunity to meet someone in person and gift them a book or to post it to them. There's still something so personal about a tangible gift, and it feels so much different, like giving that than, hey, yeah, I'll send you an email of the PDF.
It's
And I
personal.
think,
It's very intimate and personal. It's true.
and it's received so differently. I fly here, and and I travel, and I bring a couple of books for people that I haven't met yet, and then it's and they receive it so differently, and there is a real gifting element to that email feels like sharing, but this feels like a gift.
Right. I agree. Especially when you sign it, it's just very, very special. And you make people feel special, by that you took the time to print the book, to write maybe a personal note or whatever, and give it to them as a gift.
I want to challenge you on that, both of you, because if you have a book and you give a book to someone, where I fully agree it's a gift, but on the other side is, oh, he's an author, and it's like saying, oh, I give you a book, I'm being seen as an expert. That's the other
Yeah.
way looking at it. And when you give a book to someone, it's like, hey, I'm the expert. Here's a book, but I give it to you because I want it and sign it. But that's the message that you also can send out.
I would agree with that. There's definitely an ego element to it. It's like so cool walking in and, hey, like, this is my second book. Like there is that element. Credibility, positioning.
Hmm?
I find, to meet someone, as you said, Karen, the tangibility of it. Oh, not only has he written a book, but it's here and I've got it. So that's not just a story. And by the way, just gifting someone a book doesn't mean they're going to read it.
Oh
I'll
my
make
God.
that distinction.
Yeah. Put in ChatGPT the statistics of how many people actually read the book. So this is why Amazon Kindle changed the way they pay out to authors. I don't know if you knew this, but they pay you on how many pages the reader has read, which is extraordinary. It's like, oh wow, give me a break. But that's what they do. It's not on how many copies have been bought. How many pages has the reader read?
What is your vision about books that are written by AI? And that
That's my vision.
Is that plus sign that more or?
more? You want more?
Yeah, love it, love it. So here's what I think. That obviously I'm very opinionated about
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
Feel
that's good.
very strongly about this. I don't believe in AI has no soul. AI, there's a
I know
lot
people
of
like that.
that's true. Maybe they could write books with AI. They get along well, very, very well. But when you're writing a book, the key thing is you want your voice. You want your authenticity. You want your language. And no matter how much stuff you put into AI to make it to make it familiar, with you,
Mm.
it's never going to have your voice and your authenticity. So it's going to sound a little robotic, regardless of what you do. So I would never write a book with AI. Here's what's interesting. Amazon and Ingram, they ask you when we're uploading books, like we're putting in the information, the data, and they ask you, have you used AI to write your book? And at first I thought, oh my God, if you say yes, they won't distribute it. But what they really want is if you say yes, it means you have to credit AI as a co-author.
Mm.
So I'm not sure that adds to an author's credibility when you do that. So that's one thing to keep in mind. What I do believe in is using AI for research, although you have to be careful because AI tends to hallucinate. And so you really have to check your sources. And I love it for helping me structure presentations, or I'll load in, if I'm writing a book, I'll load in some information to help me organize the chapters and bullet points and help me create a synopsis and marketing copy, and all those things surrounding it. But and I might dump what I've written and ask it to enhance it, but you have to be careful, about that part of it. But to help me organize the chapters, does it make sense? Yes, I would recommend using AI for something like that, and certainly for um, marketing copy and how you're identifying your target reader.
And
So
if you
that
would be
kind of thing.
stuck, and if you would be stuck, I'm thinking like, if I would be stuck and I want to write about something, but I don't know how to structure the book and which personalities or persons do I want to do, I think AI could help me to give me all the things that I would pieces that I can sit down. Oh yeah, I got this, and helps me to
Yes,
structure that.
I think that would be great. You can have it do an overview for you. One thing I would say is when you are using AI, before you can ask a question or you can dump information and this is what I want to write about. Before you hit send, just say, please ask clarifying questions before you give me an answer, so that they're going to drill down deeper with you so that you can really get your ideal audience or your ideal reader, whatever it is. And so it makes a huge difference when you just ask a simple question like that.
Thing that stands out as we're speaking here, actually, it's your purpose that you connected to back in 2011, I think. We can use AI and tools for the ancillary, the stuff that goes around. But if we're going to amplify our voice, it's our voice that should be amplified.
Exactly. Exactly. It's our story. It's our language that we speak. It's our unique way of approaching the world. And no one can emulate that.
One thing I hear consistently, and I know people that have definitely had this happen, is, and actually, I think I found this myself. Often we don't know what we're going to write until it's written. And so for those that don't go, yeah, I want to amplify my voice, but I don't know what my voice is, I don't know what my message is. Often the journey of writing is what helps to crystallize, uh, the voice, the message. We learn so much, as you said, by introspection, finding the words to put it out, not just thinking about the story, but finding ways to articulate it and getting it out helps to clarify what it is that we want to say.
Yeah, I think most people have an idea, although they might have, what trips them up is they might have 5 or 10 ideas and they can't figure out which book they want to write first, right?
Good.
So when we do these 2-day retreats called the Big Leap Retreat, and this is what we talk about, right? What's your big idea? And there's a formula for how you can figure out what's the book I should write first. And people think that the first book they should write, and what trips people up, the first book they should write is their magnum opus, is their, signature book. It's going to be their best book. No, it's going to be your worst book. Because you really don't know what you're doing at that point, right? And you don't want to, in my opinion, you don't want to get some practice first, right? Get some idea of who your ideal reader, who your ideal audience is, who's going to resonate with you and your voice, and then you can grow from there.
Good tip. It's not one book. It's this book. It's the next book. We've definitely heard that before. I think on another episode. I think that's really good advice. As coaches, we're often encouraging people to take that next step and to look at the limiting beliefs that we have around different things. And it's the one. It's like that's definitely a narrative that's going to keep us stuck. And I love where you're pointing. I had a million other questions that are starting to form. For those people that are inspired, intrigued, or just curious about what we've been talking about today, or even want to learn more about the difference between fiction and nonfiction, Erwin, how can people connect with you, Karen?
And then there's creative nonfiction, Erwin. So People can get in touch with me. Go to my website at hybridglobalpublishing.com. And then you can contact me from there and even make an appointment if you'd like to talk with me.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Karen, for this entertaining chat about publishing book and not publishing and what is important to write and not, and so on. So I really enjoyed this. As Steve said, many questions are, and I think people will have many questions. How can I start to write a book? I haven't written a book. I've thought about it, but I never came down to it. I'm always too short talking about it. So thank you very much for sharing this. Everybody else, thank you very much for listening in. And until the next episode, take care. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to The Coaching Edge. Until next time, keep coaching and keep growing.